Have you ever lived with someone so quiet, so reclusive, that it's almost like they're not there? Yeah, that's how it started. But trust me, by the end I was wishing they weren't there, unpacking boxes in a modest apartment. There's a knock at the door. They open it to see their new roommate, tall, pale, with a blank expression. My new roommate, Eric, was, let's say, different. He didn't talk much, barely ate, and spent most of his time locked in his room. Honestly, I thought, great, no small talk. But then, weird things started happening, trying to knock on Eric's door to offer pizza. Hey, Eric, pizza's here. It's pepperoni? Unless you're vegan or something? No response. They shrug and walk away. As they turn, faint breathing can be heard from behind it. Eric's door never opens, even when footsteps are heard inside. Strange sounds like whispering and scratching come from the room at night. Look, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't you ask him about it? But let's be honest. Have you ever really asked your weird roommate why they're weird? Exactly. Hey, Eric, just wondering. Why do you sound like a demon every night? One night, the protagonist is brushing their teeth in the bathroom. They look into the mirror and notice a faint reflection of Eric standing behind them. They spin around. No one's there. That was the first time I really started questioning things. But it wasn't the last. A stormy night. The protagonist is in the living room, watching TV. Lightning flashes, briefly illuminating Eric's bedroom door. It's slightly ajar. Curiosity gets the better of them. Okay, so, do I investigate the creepy door? Or do I pretend I didn't see anything? Horror movie logic says, stay put. But here we go. They tiptoe to the door. As they peek inside, they see Eric sitting on the floor, staring into a small, cracked mirror. His reflection isn't matching his movements. It's smiling while he remains expressionless. Alex gasps, accidentally stepping on a loose floorboard. Eric's head snaps toward the door. The protagonist bolts back to their room and locks the door. That's when I knew. Something was wrong, very wrong. The next morning, the protagonist cautiously steps out of their room. Eric's door is wide open now. On the floor, a piece of paper catches their eye. It reads, "Stop looking at me." Alex backs away, heart racing. They try to rationalize it. Okay, maybe he's just super private. I mean, I don't like people looking at me either. But this was next level. They decide to confront Eric, but find the apartment completely empty. Eric is gone. Yet his belongings, including the cracked mirror, are still in his room. Over the next few days, strange events escalate. Lights flicker, footsteps echo in empty hallways, and the mirror starts appearing in different parts of the apartment. The protagonist decides to research the apartment's history. That's when I found it. A news article about a tenant named Eric who had disappeared 5 years ago. His belongings were left behind, including a mirror. The police said he'd been acting strange, claiming his reflection was watching him. They piece it together. Eric wasn't a roommate. He was a ghost. One night, the protagonist wakes up to find the cracked mirror on their bedside table. In its reflection, they see Eric standing at the foot of their bed, grinning unnaturally. I told you not to look. Show the apartment empty. The mirror is gone. A new tenant moves in, unpacking boxes. They hear a knock at their door. When they open it, they see Eric smiling faintly. Would you dare look into the mirror? Have you ever lived with someone who seemed too normal? Someone who smiled at the right times, paid their share on time, and never missed a beat. That was Chris, my roommate. Reliable, friendly, but also hiding something dark. If you think your roommate's quirks are bad, wait until you hear this. I didn't know that Chris wasn't just my roommate. They were my biggest mistake. Chris making coffee, folding laundry, smiling politely. Chris was perfect. Too perfect. Always polite. Always helpful. Every morning they'd leave a cup of coffee for me before heading out. Just a friendly gesture, I thought. But then Friday nights rolled around. Showing 10 p.m., Chris grabs a jacket and leaves without saying a word. Every single Friday, they vanished. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe they had a weekend gig or a significant other, but curiosity, well, it's a dangerous thing. Honestly, if I'd just minded my own business, I wouldn't be telling you this story. But hey, who wouldn't snoop a little, right? Friday night, he is peeking from behind a curtain as Chris leaves. One night, I decided to follow them. They left at the usual time, but this time, I was ready. Footsteps crunching on gravel as Sam trails Chris from a distance. Chris walks with a steady, almost robotic pace. They didn't go to a bar, not to a friend's house. No, they went somewhere. Different. Shows an old abandoned house. Windows boarded up, roof sagging. A crow caws loudly, startling Sam. Okay, seriously, who in their right mind goes here willingly? Is this where Chris hosts poker night? They approach the house, heart pounding. Camera lingers on the eerie front door before creaking open. Inside, the house is dark. The flashlight beam dances over peeling wallpaper and broken furniture. The place smelled like damp wood and something metallic. Blood, maybe? My gut screamed at me to leave, but I kept going. The flashlight lands on a series of photos scattered across the floor. Sam kneels to inspect them, breath hitching. They were all pictures of me, taken without my knowledge, at work, at home. Even asleep, I couldn't breathe. Why did Chris have these? A faint creak echoes from upstairs. The camera whips toward the staircase. I should have run. I should have left right then. But no, I had to know more. Okay, let's pause here. If this were you, what would you do? Option A, call the cops. Option B, run for your life. Option C, do what I did, because I'm apparently brilliant, and go upstairs. Sam climbs the creaky stairs, flashlight trembling. The door at the end of the hallway is slightly ajar. My hands were shaking. I pushed the door open, and that's when I heard it. The voice. From the shadows, Chris whispers in a cold, emotionless tone. You shouldn't have come here. Reveal Chris, standing unnaturally still in the corner, their face hidden in the dark. The flashlight flickers and dies. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. And then they moved. Chris's shadow stretches unnaturally across the room as they take a step forward. The floor creaks loudly. The flashlight flickers back on, revealing Chris's face twisted into something inhuman. You weren't supposed to know. Sam bolts out of the room, tripping over debris. Heavy footsteps follow, growing louder. They burst out of the house into the night. I ran like my life depended on it, because it did. When I looked back, the house, it was gone. Empty lot where the house stood moments ago. The narrator collapses to their knees, gasping for breath. Was it real? Was Chris even real? All I know is when I got home, their room was empty. Everything was gone, except for one thing. Chris disappeared after that. I never saw them again. But sometimes, late at night, I feel like I'm being watched. Maybe I'll see Chris again. Or maybe they never really left. What would you have done in my place? Comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling stories. See you, if you dare. What would you do if your roommate was stuck on repeat? Same actions, same words, every single day. What happens when you break the loop? A shadow moving behind the protagonist, a distorted face grinning in the dark, and a chilling whisper. Why did you change my script? This isn't just a story. This is what happened to me. Moving into a new place always feels like a fresh start. New walls, new neighbors, and in my case, a new roommate. His name was Ben. Quiet guy, kept to himself. Honestly, a little too perfect at first, meticulously setting the table for dinner with precision. He smiles stiffly at Alex dinners at 7:13 p.m. Always. Awkward silence. All right, Mr. Punctuality. Guess I'll have to synchronize my watch. Ben's routine, brushing teeth at the same time every morning, watering the same plants in the same order, and sitting in the living room staring at the clock for 5 minutes each evening. At first, I thought he was just quirky, like, hey, everyone has their thing, right? But Ben, he was like clockwork. Literally, same actions, same time, every day, no exceptions. Ravi laughing while eating chips. Do you run on Windows 95 or something? Should I hit Control-Alt-Delete if you crash? Ben doesn't react, just smiles eerily. Ravi comes home late one evening and accidentally knocks over Ben's perfectly placed stack of mail. Oh man, sorry about that, Ben. I'll fix it. Ben suddenly appears from the shadows, his face eerily blank. You moved it, the stack. It wasn't supposed to move. The atmosphere grows tense as Ben stares at the mail. Ravi brushes it off. It's just mail, dude. Chill. Ravi lies in bed, uneasy. Faint murmurs echo from the living room. A clock ticks louder and louder. Ravi wakes up to find the mail back in its original position. The rest of the apartment is eerily tidy. I shrugged it off. Maybe Ben was just being his usual neurotic self. But then I started noticing things. Ben staring at the wall, his head tilting unnaturally. Items moving back to their exact places after being touched. Faint whispers when Ben is out of sight. Okay, seriously, is this guy a human Roomba? Or something worse? Ravi decides to confront Ben. Ben, why do you do the same thing every day? Like, are you okay? Is this some OCD thing or? Ben turns slowly, his face twitching unnaturally, a crooked grin forming. Everything must stay as it is. His voice distorts as he steps closer. Why did you change my script? The lights flicker. Ben's face begins to shift grotesquely, his eyes hollow, his smile widening unnaturally. Ravi stumbles back into Ben's room, finding stacks of notebooks. Each page details the exact events of each day, down to the second. Every day, written out, every word, every action, my actions. A page reads, 7:47 p.m. Ravi will knock over the mail. The next page reads, 7:48. Ravi will apologize. What the? Ben's voice echoes behind them. You weren't supposed to see that. Ben lunges, but the protagonist escapes the room. Ravi attempts to leave the apartment, but the door won't budge. The clock ticks louder, and Ben's distorted figure stalks closer. I broke the routine, and now it was breaking me. Time seems to rewind as Ravi finds themselves back in their bed, as if the day never happened. But this time, Ben is standing over them, grinning. Let's start again, shall we? Don't change the script. Next time. Have you ever had a roommate so strange that they kept secrets you were better off not knowing? Trust me, curiosity isn't always a good thing. This is the story of how I learned my roommate wasn't living alone, and neither was I. When I moved in with Ryan, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. Low rent, a decent apartment, and a roommate who mostly kept to himself. Perfect, right? But things started getting weird. Mark sitting in the living room, hearing muffled voices from Ryan's room late at night. Now don't judge me, but I've seen enough horror movies to know this was a red flag. But hey, I told myself, maybe Ryan's just really into late-night podcasts, super private ones. Or maybe he's arguing with Alexa because she played the wrong playlist again. Been there. Nighttime shot. Mark stands outside Ryan's door, hesitant. The whispers inside grow louder, and the voice of a second person seems to be saying Mark's name repeatedly. And then I heard it, my name, over and over. But Ryan was the only one home. The whispers stop suddenly. A loud thud from inside the room makes the narrator jump. Now at this point, any sane person would have run straight out of the apartment. But not me. Nope, I decided to stay and investigate. Brilliant, right? They lean closer to the door and accidentally bump into it, causing it to creak open slightly. Mark gathers their courage and pushes the door open. Inside, Ryan sits in a chair, staring at a dark corner of the room. The narrator hesitates before speaking. Ryan, who are you talking to?" Ryan slowly turns his head, grinning eerily. His eyes are empty, almost lifeless. "I was just introducing you to our other roommate." When I go to the corner of the room, a shadowy figure shifts slightly before disappearing completely. The lights flicker, and Ryan begins to laugh softly. Mark backs out of the room, their voice trembling. "Right. Cool. Other roommate. Sure, I'll just add them to the grocery list, I guess." I mean, who says that? Mark retreats to their room, locking the door. They decide to dig into Ryan's past. At this point, sleep wasn't an option, so I did what any responsible adult would do. Online stalking. Laptop screen, showing old news articles about the apartment. One headline reads, "Tenant found dead in mysterious circumstances." It turns out Ryan's last roommate disappeared without a trace, and the one before that found dead in this very apartment. The lights in Mark's room flicker. A faint knock comes from their closet. Okay, Ryan, if this is some weird initiation prank, it's not funny. They open the closet to find nothing. But as they close the door, a handprint appears on the inside of the door's mirror. Mark decides to confront Ryan again. They burst into his room to find him sitting in the dark, staring at the same corner. "Ryan, what's going on? Who is the other roommate?" Ryan points to the corner, his voice low and trembling. "They don't like it when you ask questions." Suddenly, the shadowy figure emerges, its form distorted and unnatural. The narrator screams and runs out of the room, only to find the apartment door won't open. "Let me out." "What is this?" I thought Ryan was the scary one, but it turns out I was never really alone. Some secrets are better left unknown.